Wherever you are and however you are listening, I've got some exciting news. If you have been waiting to get into the hospitality space, this is the episode for you. We have an amazing collection of properties right outside of Zion National Park, the absolute perfect base camp for all things Southern Utah, and it is an unbelievable deal. It has everything you need. It's got a manager's quarters, it's got employee housing, it's got a laundry facility, it's got an award-winning restaurant. It truly is a turnkey investment. Be sure to like and subscribe, and most importantly, enjoy the episode.
Okay, welcome back to the VGM podcast. We've got an exciting episode today, episode 22. We've got Travis with the Canyons here with us. And so we're going to start our podcast how we normally do with a segue.
Okay, well, I will get us started here. So my segue is there's a company I consult with, and we had our quarterly EOS meeting yesterday. And those are always so good for the business. It's so great to have that health checkup for your organization. And it was a challenging one. We had some issues. We had to work through them. It was difficult. At one point, I had to say, hey, guys, everyone take a 10-minute break and go get some sunshine. Like, we got to come back and refocus because we really got stuck as we were setting our rocks for the quarter. But it's such an important thing. And what was amazing to see is even though the meeting was so challenging, everyone left it feeling better because we worked through the hard things. And it's so easy in work to just like kind of let those things sit to the side and not really focus on them. But when you're in a room together for 8 hours and you're faced with the reality of like a whole board of issues that we're going to solve, it forces you to work through it. So that was really good. And then personally, right now it seems like a great thing. But we did a crazy thing, Travis, and my daughter wanted to go to the pet store for her birthday. Just, you can pay $10 and pay with puppies. And for whatever reason, Megan wanted one. And so we got another puppy. So very exciting. She is a Cane Corso. She's beautiful and gorgeous, but we already have two, 90, 80 pound labs. So I don't know what we're thinking getting another full grown dog, but she's precious and I love her and she's super cute. And then today, as Megan alluded to, we have Travis, who we've been working with for a couple years at the Canyons. And I've known Travis since like 2018 when we started working with Zion Mountain Ranch and wanted to get familiar with all the hotel group in Kane County. And he's just been a leader out there, helped us put on the Southern Utah Tourism Summit in Kanab, and such a great advocate for hospitality. So I can't wait to segue over to him. But Meg, let's let you rip your segue.
Okay, personal would be watching Cash develop as an athlete and watching him really succeed in football and getting that confidence. It's been really nice to see. And for business, for me, recommitting to my best self. Like you can get in the business, right, and start slacking. And I feel like this week I'm like, okay, I'm doing my job. Like I might as well be doing it my best. And so just getting that renewed energy, I feel like.
What gave you that inspiration to kind of renew that?
Well, I want to be my best, but sometimes it's just like life kind of happens and you just can't start slacking. And so
I just wondered if it was like going to the Utah Tourism Summit, if that like gave you a little bit of fire.
Just seeing other people make mistakes like in our company, I'm like, okay, we can't be doing this. So that starts with me. So
I love that. Yeah. Okay. All right, Travis, what about you? One business best and one personal best.
All right. It's kind of on the spot. Good morning. I think my personal best is just rediscovering Southern Utah. I know that we're changing plans, which we'll be talking about today. And I think we're just getting out there and seeing a lot of the things that I want to see before we leave. We've been doing a lot of hikes and just trying to embrace what we have here.
I love that.
From all over the world to enjoy. And I've always been working behind the scenes and smiling and hearing their stories. I'm kind of out there living them myself right now.
I love that. People ask me, they'll be like, oh, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of this hike or that hike? And I'm like, honestly, I haven't done it. Like you take it for granted when you're here.
Exactly. You can always do it tomorrow. But now that tomorrow's not as long as it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So true.
Yes.
And then for your business best?
Business best, we are just having an amazing month and a wonderful staff. We are just embracing our staff, encouraging them to grow within the company as much as possible and just hold on to, this beautiful thing that we all built together.
Absolutely. So. I love that. Well, what's exciting to the listeners, I gave a little teaser at the end of episode 21. And if you've been following along, you know that one of the other properties that we work with, the Dwellings, their episode came out 2 weeks ago, but their property is for sale. And now you can also work with us at the Canyon. So we're super excited. It is an unbelievable opportunity. The Canyons Collections is right in the heart of Kanab. and there's so many great things to say about it, and I can't wait to get into it with Travis. But Travis, what would you say are some of the things that you are most excited for the potential new owner to discover about the Canyons?
The Canyons collection, we started this in 2012 when we first moved here and expanded the Canyons collection to 4 properties back in 2015. It's what it is there's a unique property because I come from a background of luxury hotels. I worked for Fairmont for many years, and we kind of want to bring that luxury idea, luxury, service to small town Utah and in a smaller property. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry, my dog's coming to visit. And the Canyons collection, what we do is we don't provide just a box hotel service. We provide somebody, they're going to come into our hotel and they're going to feel at home. We have an amazing return guest portfolio right now. People do come and they extend their stay because they enjoy the property so much. And we're just something unique here in Southern Utah.
Well, what I love about it, but we just talked about in our last episode, we're talking about things you can do for free if you don't have a marketing agency. And one of the things we talked about was Flow Desk, and I spoke specifically about the Canyons campaign from last month because you guys do those amazing decorations for Halloween. And it's those kind of things that infuse your property with fun, personality. And what's so cool for people listening to this, obviously, this podcast is really built for independent properties, right? And the Canyons is exactly that. Like, Travis was really a visionary in that sense of, I felt like you started doing this before it was really cool and happening all over the place. Because in 2012, even the big brands like Hilton and Marriott hadn't started their soft flags yet. So you were really a trendsetter in that way. And the Canyons is truly exactly what it is that you think of when you think of like when you go travel somewhere and you're like, I don't want to stay at a box hotel. I want a cool, unique experience that embraces the community. That to me is Canyons. And it's evident by even just the restaurant that you guys have in your lobby there, Sago. The Chef Sean, is just unbelievably amazing. In fact, he was the chef of the year for Utah last year, and that will continue to operate even for the new sellers, which you could only be so lucky to be able to have a restaurant of that quality in your hotel, because to me, I think food and beverage is the hardest part of hospitality.
Oh, I agree with that completely. And just having Chef Sean there is one of the biggest assets we have at the Canyons collection. Amazing food, amazing people coming from all over to try his food, even a celebrity clientele, which I really enjoy. Get to meet some great people.
And what's he got that watermelon salad, right? Or he does something with watermelon
pork belly salad.
That's what it is.
And that brings a tear to my eye. That is incredible.
That's when you know it's really good.
It's really good. Yeah, everything from his starters, his salads, up to his cocktails, desserts, everything is incredible. He puts a lot of love and heart into everything he does.
Well, and what's cool about the Canyons is so they sit across the street from each other, and you've got the Canyons Hotel and the Canyons Lodge, which are both very unique and have a completely different experience, right? The rooms are different, the experience is different, and you've got the pool over at the Lodge, which is awesome that you can use either regardless of which property you're staying at. And then, of course, you have Sago at the Canyons. So you really get to kind of decide for yourself which is the right fit for you. Europeans love it, which is awesome. We certainly were impacted by the loss of Europeans over the last couple of years, but we did some targeted campaigns this year for the Canyons, and it was really successful. Like, we actually saw them starting to come back because the Canyons really offers exactly what it is that European clientele is looking for.
Exactly. We can have had a couple nights in the last month or so that have had nothing but Europeans in our property, especially at the Canyons Lodge. They love the Western chic. What we call it is rustic chic over here. Has a log cabin feel that the Europeans are really looking for. And they also love the comfort that we put into it. Each one of the rooms has robes in the rooms. We do silly little things like having Q-tips in each room for the guests. They have microwaves, refrigerators. They can just make home base. And then from here at the property, they can just, travel. It's amazing. We're so much right here in the heart of all the national parks. We have 90 minutes south to the Grand Canyon, 90 minutes north up to Bryce Canyon, 40 minutes from the Zion National Park. Lake Powell's only an hour away, right in the middle of the Paria and the Grand Escalante National Staircase. Perfect location for the Europeans and all other travelers just to make a home base for a few days.
It really is a great base camp. And there's even amazing things like the pink coral sand dunes that are right there. And then you've got...
The Wave? Is the Wave in Kanab?
It's right outside of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right
it got
outside of,
all
that is one
kinds
of
of
the
amazing
biggest
things.
draws.
I don't even think I realized that it was so central to all of the national parks. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's really more central than any of our other properties,
Yeah,
right?
that's so cool.
And like you said, it not even just national parks, but the state parks and Lake Powell. I mean, there's so many amazing things you can do, and that's what we want people. In fact, you guys did a package, a stay and play package with, I can't remember the name of the company who did it with you guys.
Dreamland Safari Tours.
Yes. And
Yes.
that's what people want, especially like if you're coming from Europe, you want to get outside and see the great outdoors and go on an amazing ATV trips. And there's just so many sights you can see. And the Canyons has that sense of home, which allows you to stay there for longer. And all of us in hospitality know the longer a guest stays, the better it is for us. And because of their amazing location, it really provides that opportunity. And one thing that's really cool, we talked about being 40 minutes from Zion, but that's going to feel so different here soon. So if you're familiar with national parks, Zion is one of the most visited parks in the United States. I think it's like top 5. And so our visitation has continued to grow and grow and grow. And the entrance to the park is on the Springdale side of Zion. So if you're staying right now at Canyons, you got to drive through the park actually to get to the entrance to come back into the park. Well, what the state and the parks office has realized is we need to do more expansion. And so they're going to create a visitor center on the east side of the park with the Zion Forever project. And the renderings just look absolutely spectacular. And they're also going to build a bunch of new trails on the east side of the park. Which is really like undiscovered at this point, unless you are a kind of a local. A lot of people just kind of sleep on the east side. But so now the experience of going to Zion from Kanab is going to completely change the next couple of years. And it's going to make it feel like you're 20 minutes away instead of 40 minutes away, which is an unbelievable opportunity for someone who's looking to get into hotel space. This is one of those things where it hasn't happened yet, so you get the opportunity to experience that growth if you were to purchase the Canyons, which I think for the whole city of Kanab, I'm so excited for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so much happening on the east side and happening all over Kanab. And like I said, there's so much more than just Zion right here. Our town has changed in the last, 5-10 years. It's gone from when I first moved here, such a small town, and it's just amazing what our visitor center our visitor center has done to our community. It's just they're bringing people in from all over the world. We're getting art galleries, amazing restaurants, more than just Sago here. Wonderful art galleries, all kinds of events. We have some beautiful events. In the springtime, we have something called Balloons and Tunes that happens in February. We have our Western Legends and Arts Festival in August. Wonderful small town holidays over 4th of July and Utah Pioneer Day. It's just an amazing place to be. The small town feel, but we're really getting that metropolitan, with the good, amazing restaurants, the galleries, art, people. It's a
and just this week, Emily sent me a picture. There's this restaurant there called Brown Bag, and it's like grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Brown Box,
thank you. And it is so, I don't even like tomato soup. You know that.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all. Their tomato soup is unbelievably delicious. You just take that perfect grilled cheese and you dip it in it.
It sounds amazing.
Oh, chef's kiss.
You're making me want to move to Kanab.
It's an awesome. Hey, that's where our COO Emily lives, and she lives there for a reason. And Emily sent a picture or posted on Instagram on like this week of they had a pizza grilled cheese. And I was like, oh, just mouth-wateringly good. And then we also work with Wild Time Kanab. That's a client that we do marketing for. And Wild Time's food is amazing. And one thing that we hadn't even mentioned yet, there's actually a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange that's right there in Kanab, Best Friends, which is another thing that people travel all over the world to come experience and be a part of. And so you've really just got this incredible hospitality community that's been built there for a reason, because it is this unbelievable base camp. And so if you're listening to this and your interests are percolated, you're like, man, I got to get out there and see that inside of our show notes. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can go down and click on this, or if you're listening, once you're done driving, pull over and check it out. But we'll have the pitch deck for you so you can kind of see what we're talking about, because it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to see it. Mm-hmm. It's so stunningly beautiful. And then it's also going to kind of go through all the different amenities and what they offer. And then I think some other things that we should talk about too, Travis, is that it's not just the properties that you're getting, but you've got a manager's quarters in the lodge, and then you've also got the employee housing with laundry room. So do you want to talk a little bit about some of those things that you don't see as a guest that are so important for someone who's interested in buying the property?
Of course, where I'm sitting right now, this is our manager quarter. It's a beautiful little apartment connected to the Canyons Lodge. Beautiful back outside space. It has a little private sanctuary so you can get away from the grind of every day. and be right here on site for any guests that you might need to assist. We also have a 3-bedroom staff housing, which has been amazing for us. We do bring in international students to work with us every summer as part of an exchange program. They can live in the house and help us out in the summertime, and they have their beautiful own space. Right behind that is an off-site, which is directly across the road from the hotel, is an off-site laundry room and storage facility. We have a fleet of golf carts that we use to get all the dirty linens and things back and forth.
It really is truly turnkey, right?
That is so cool.
If you're listening to this,
completely turnkey.
yeah, if you're listening to, and you got a great staff too, which is obviously super important.
And our staff has no interest in going anywhere. Everybody here, they love living in Kanab. This is a beautiful small town, very family oriented, but also has a diversity that's, not very common here in Utah. It's a beautiful little town. And our staff is all very excited about, continuing on in the future. I love my staff. We're a big family. We all get along so well. We just had a barbecue for international students last night in the backyard, and everybody came over. It's a very loyal, trusted staff that I'm going to miss all of them, of course, but
yeah, it's definitely a family.
We'll continue on and have their new adventures with whoever might be interested in coming and taking the helm.
Yeah, it's a family unit over there for sure. But if you are, if you're like me, I watch a show of people on an island and I'm like, let's move to an island, And so I always have those thoughts of like, oh, what if we did this? And so if you're listening to this and you've wanted to get in hospitality, it couldn't be easier because you don't even have to find a house. You can live at the property and then you don't have the cost of a house either, right? Because it's built into the purchase price. So you got a place to live. You've got housing for your staff. You've got a business that's thriving. You already have an award-winning restaurant. You have staff. You have the laundry facilities. We help properties get going. And I'll tell you, the headache of getting a property off the ground is, it is challenging. And when you don't have employee housing, or if you don't have a laundry facility, there's so many things that you don't know how important it is until you don't have it. And with the Canyons, you don't have to worry about that. Plus, if you want to continue to work with us, certainly you've built a relationship listening to our podcast over the last couple of years. You have that opportunity to already have us for revenue management and for marketing, and our COO lives in Kanab and has a great relationship with the Canyons. So it honestly is, I can't think of an easier opportunity to jump into hospitality and become a hotelier for yourself. And that's why I wanted Travis on, because I think it's such a cool and exciting opportunity. And also, Travis, I'm curious, what's next for you? Where are you guys headed?
Right now, we are looking for moving overseas. My husband, Gordon, and I have been living here. We're both from cities. I'm from Seattle. Gordon's from Austin. And we're ready just to make the new step and get back into the whole city life.
Do you have a top 3 of what you're trying to choose from, or anywhere that's kind of sticking out as an option?
Well, right now we're looking at Northern Italy, Northern Spain, and Victoria, Australia. Those are our top 3.
See, when you say stuff like that, I'm like,
day of the week, we decide which one we're going to.
I love it.
That is so cool.
Right, as my dog who just walked in here, right now we're going to stick around the States until 13 and a half right now. So he's an old boy.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough.
Now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we were just, we're watching a show on Apple TV called Bad Monkeys?
Yeah.
Bad Monkeys, and they're on an island. So let's move to an island, and Megan's like, well, what are we going to do now? We just got another puppy. We're going to move to an island with 300-pound dogs. We've talked about, we have friends who moved to Italy, and we've never even been. So of course we're just crazy. But we're we should move to Italy, but we are going to go. Megan and I have never been to Europe, and our 15-year anniversary is
next year.
Not next year, but the year after.
Yeah.
So a year and a half from now, and we're going to take the kids. We're going to go do 2 weeks in Europe and do the whole thing. So
hopefully you can come visit us.
Yes,
perfect. There you go.
So cool, you're doing that. I love that.
All the more reason to go. So what's really exciting too is if you've listened to this podcast, you're obviously going to be familiar with Brett Dockstader. And he is the listing agent for this. So really, you're getting the whole squad to help you put this deal together and make your hospitality dreams come true. And so I'll put his contact information in there as well, so you can reach out to him. We can go over everything with you guys so you can get all that other information that you need. Travis, what other things do you think we should make sure the audience understands before we end today's episode?
I think the biggest thing, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but you're getting 2 properties in one. Like I said, the Canyons Lodge is the rustic chic, the beautiful, Western feel, very casual. We do have this outdoor space where, with the fire pit underneath the most amazing tree, guests gather out there on a nightly basis, and I'd love to go join them and have a glass of wine and just hear about their adventures for the day. Well, you have over at the Canyons Boutique Hotel, it's more of a classic elegance. So you have this wide range that you can bring people that, excuse me, that want to go for something more casual and comfortable, just a nice touch base where they can come home and relax afterwards, to really have a nice classic experience across the road at the hotel. So it's a 2-in-1. This can be easily run as one big property, but you have something for everyone.
That's what's so cool. You can use the same staff to execute both properties while offering two completely different experiences. And for people who aren't familiar with the area, like the Canyons is special. Before I was even in hospitality, you know about the Canyons and you know about it in Kanab. And like when we started the Southern Utah Tourism Summit, which was in 2019, and I think we did Kanab's, it was actually in 2020, I think is when we ended up doing it. And we had to pump it back because of COVID, but it was like, we have to make sure that we have Canyons and Travis representing. Like, it really is such a big part of the community, and it gives you an opportunity. Because what's so cool about Kanab is if you bought a hotel in a city, it's not like you're going to be necessarily an integral part of that city because there's just too much of it. But in Kanab, it's so different. Like, you get to really, truly be a part of your community, which is something that I think is so rewarding and offers so many incredible benefits. And to Travis's point, for what they're selling it for, which the listing price is $6 million. I mean, you can find a single hotel for that price. In fact, the dwellings is $7 million for one single property. So when this one came online, I actually told some other clients of ours, the Avenir, like, this is the one. I mean, that is an unbelievable deal to get two hotels that don't need anything. Because so often, in fact, we've got another client, we'll be doing their episode here in a couple of weeks on the East Coast that's selling their property. And it's great, but you'd have to have some real investment to get it up to where you want it. Or there's a property we're looking at in Bend that's kind of the same thing. It's got some good bones, but you'd really have to put some investment behind it to get it to where you want it to be. And the Canyons is so unique where you don't have to really do anything. And you can
ready to go.
And we
already even have a lot of people booking early right now. We have a big group coming from next year for Labor Day weekend. We're already getting so much interest from return guests because people love this property. It's their home away from home.
Well, yeah, and it is such a risk mitigation, right? Because no matter what, even if you own it and you just do everything exactly the same, you're going to be successful, right? And 100%. So it already has that business already built where it's very autonomously going to, especially with the staff staying, you really don't have anything to worry about. So it's a very low risk, low barrier of entry to get into the hospitality space. And so I know we've got a bunch of listeners listening all over the place. In fact, it makes me think of that couple in Texas that wanted to get into hospitality. It's like,
come to Kanab.
Hey, if it doesn't work in Houston, I got a spot for you in Kanab. But Travis, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing with our audience how special and amazing the Canyons is. What a great opportunity that it is. Obviously, I'm sure you're willing to jump on a call with any interested people, go over, share more of your story and the story of Kanab. But it's been such a pleasure to be able to get to know you over. I mean, we met in 2018, so it's been, it's been a long ways now, 6 years. Yeah. Yes. So great to get to know you. And it's been such a pleasure to help represent your property and get to know your staff. And I couldn't be more excited for you and Gordon to go off and live your dream internationally. And hopefully we can find just the perfect purchaser of the property to keep the legacy going that you guys started.
I know that's going to happen. I'm so excited to hand the reins over to somebody else and just, add their vision to what we've created.
All righty, sir. Well, thank you so much. You have a great rest of your week. And if you are listening, jump down in those show notes, check out the pitch deck, reach out to us. We'll get you connected with Breck and Travis. This is the property for you.